Now, welcoming back on the Second Swing Thoughts podcast, it is Mr. Kevin Kraft. How you doing, Mr. Kevin Kraft?
Good.
So we are, it's February. It is the Twin Cities.
Yep. It's
Kevin is here from the Columbia, Maryland store. Yes, it is 2025. That is also relevant to this because we got some new things to talk about that didn't exist in 2024 or in much of 2024. So
You must be talking about golf clubs.
I am. I'm talking about golf clubs. I guess not specifically golf clubs, but the fitting capabilities that can be applied to golf clubs that's new in 2025.
Okay.
So I wanted to just get your take on these things. First of all, the FutureFit33 Hosel. So this is new from Cobra.
Yeah.
This is with the DS-ADAPT series, the metals. Talk to me about, first of all, you when you first heard about this and you were like, I think my first reaction was, whoa, it's a lot. So, your first reaction to it, and then if you've done any fitting with it or maybe even like toying with it yourself, what you think of it so far?
So I think my first reaction to it was, whoa, cool. Right. As a fitter, I want options, and the manufacturers have all done a good job of giving us some level of adjustability in these clubs over the last bunch of years. This just takes it to another level. Now, it causes me a little tiny bit of trouble because I've still never been able to memorize Titleist's chart, and it only has 16 options. There's literally zero chance I'm going to be able to remember this chart.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge I've got right now, honestly, is we've got printed out and laminated of the left-handed and right-handed. For some reason, I just keep looking at the left-handed one. It's like down below. I need to like cut it off so that I just put it, just put the right-handed one there because I keep wanting to look at the left-handed one. I'm constantly pulling the customer back. Wait a minute. I got that. Put it all wrong. So, and with 33 options, you can get things pretty wrong, So I think it's great being able to do 0.3, 0.7, 1 degree, 1.4, 1.7, in pretty much any direction is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's you can get really kind of fine with the details there. Prior to this, the adjustments you could make were really with most hosels, it was 1 degree, 2 degrees, pretty much it, whether it was loft or lie.
Close that face a little bit.
Yeah, you could. That's right. Yeah. Now you can close, open. You can go by, is it 0.3 or 0.4 degrees increments up to 0.7. So it's just finer options there. Is the concern that I have, or that maybe others have had. First thing about this is like timeliness and being efficient with it in the fitting window, because nobody is going to try 33 settings. Nobody was trying 16 settings with the Titleist one.
No.
So like, I guess from your perspective, how are you going to go about in the fittings using this thing to dial golfers in? When there's this many options to look at, and maybe you're splitting hairs on a couple of them.
In 3 swings, we're gonna know what quadrant we should be in, and from there we can dive in and see what works. First thing we gotta determine is that we're gonna get a DS-ADAPT driver or Fairway Wood or hybrid, and once we've got that done, then it's not bad. I mean, when I built out my Adapt X driver for the year, it took me 4 hosel setting adjustments to get it where I needed it. So that can be in as little as 1 to 2 swings.
Yeah.
See what the ball's doing. Okay, well let's go a little further here or a little further there, and so it adds a whole lot more that we can do, but it really isn't going to add time. There's not going to be much difference there between what we would see putting somebody on a -1 D setting for Callaway or C1 setting or B1 setting, A3 setting for Titleist.
Yeah.
So I don't look at it as something that's going to stress anybody out, other than those who buy the club without doing any fitting and they need to make some sort of adjustments,
Yeah.
and then they're just like randomly trying numbers and letters together, because actually some of the number and letter combinations don't actually add up to anything on the chart. So like to kind of know what those duplicates are.
Yeah.
But we've not been provided that chart either. So
Yeah. So yeah, it's just, I think it's cool that they've opened up all these options and
Yeah.
they found a way in kind of a still kind of compact. It's not clunky, device to have all of these various options.
It's fitting, just cooler. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just now the streamlining process, just making sure it's streamlined enough to use and make sure it in a timely fashion the fittings are completed and that whole thing. But yeah, FutureFit33. So again, 33 hosel settings on the Cobra DS-ADAPT series, and moving forward, as my understanding, Cobra will be using that hosel for the foreseeable future.
I would think so.
I mean, and right now I don't know if what's in the works, if another company or OEM is going to, or manufacturer is going to come up with something that matches that. But this is the first time that the Titleist 16 settings has kind of been surpassed.
Yeah.
So
I would think somebody's going to have a reaction to that. Don't know who it's going to be, but somebody's going to be like, yeah, okay. All right. And they'll either expand on what they've got or, try to beat what's then out there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's, as a club fitter, you're looking for anything that might give you the edge to help the golfer. So that brings me to the next piece I wanted to discuss with you, which was, Ping G440 series, and specifically there's new offerings within the lineup. So we're not, we're used to seeing SFT models, LST models, max models, and various options within them, but specifically there's new ones that they added to the lineup. There's a 9-degree SFT driver now, G440 SFT driver.
Yep.
There is a G440 Max 4-wood.
Yep. Also
at
smart.
17 degrees. That's the 5-wood is now 19, 3-wood's 15. Okay, so there's a 4-wood right between there, and there's also a 5-wood in the LST.
Also smart.
Fairway Wood. So
smart.
So, just wanted to get your maybe a just perspective on why you think Ping added each of these. In talking with Ping about these, it was a matter of providing fitting options.
Yep.
But I guess what golfers or what type of players are you seeing in the Bay where these are going to be helpful?
All types of players, honestly. 4-wood, 7-wood combination is one of my most popular fitting combinations. We've either had to take a 5-wood and make it stronger or get a 3-wood and make it weaker in order to create that 4-wood. There was a huge need for it, and Ping slotted it right in there. And good on them for doing it. It's fantastic. There's a lot of people that need a little extra lift off the deck. And because if we're hitting a shot coming into the greens, we want to be creating a particular landing dynamic so that we can stop the ball. So if you can't get it all the way up there using a 3-wood and you are going to hit fairway wood into the greens, let's try 4-wood, see if that gets up there high enough. SFT, I mean, again, having a lower lofted option, there's plenty of golfers out there that launch it high and still have a hard time squaring the club face. So, I mean, it was needed.
Yeah.
It was straight up needed to be able to service a good number of golfers out there. It's amazing how many people with a lot of power come into the
they're still struggling with
into
that
the
slice
studio,
of
and they're still struggling with the slice. The more power they have, the greater the responsibility on getting that club face squared up. So the stronger player has even more need for something like that than somebody that swings it a little bit slower.
Did you find that often where players, like the players you're talking about, you found, okay, well, they're going to need to be in a draw bias type driver.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Ping doesn't have an option at this loft, whereas maybe another company does. So I kind of have to defer to the Callaways or TaylorMades or whatever might be out there.
Yeah, we always have to go with what we have available.
Yeah.
Right. So that was another really good play on their part.
Mm-hmm.
And the LST 5 wood, I fit into the category of guys that spin fairway woods too much. So, we go up in loft, we go up in spin. We go 3 wood to 5 wood, we're going to see more spin. So the LST gives that player that does spin it a lot a little bit better opportunity to be able to potentially put a 5 wood in the bag.
Yeah.
I've struggled with it. I've tried some 5 woods even this year, and I still just can't beat my 2 hybrid. It just spins less. I still hit it high.
I forgot you still have that in the bag.
Yeah.
You've been playing that thing.
Yeah. Stalwart in the bag there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The King Tech.
The only time it comes out is if I have a situation like the U.S. Senior Open where it's going to be windy and I know it's going to be windy and I need to flight a bunch of tee shots down, then I'll throw the 2-iron in the bag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's the only time the 2 hybrid ever comes out is for that specific purpose. I've carried it twice in the last 3 years.
Well, it has a specific purpose. That's the whole point.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think it's, and again, in talking with Ping, this can be seen in our content and also kind of sort of behind the scenes, if you will, in talking with them. The message has stayed the same, where they've said, this is about fitting. They do pride themselves on being kind of at the forefront of club fitting. And I know some of the technology and software that they provide to our fitting team is a big help, and they definitely deliver on that sort of promise. But then, in a way, I'm sure it was kind of frustrating of those times you're working with these players that you didn't have this option for them.
Yeah.
Maybe they generate a lot of power, but they have this slice, and you're like, well, Ping doesn't have this option for us with the driver. Now they do.
Especially considering that Ping's adapter is more anti-left bias versus anti-right bias. Very different in the industry, right? Mm-hmm. Most everybody's got draw setting, and Ping listened to their tour staff, and they loved. This was around the time the G400 was released. They said they loved it, but it was too easy to turn over, so they went with the flatter setting, and they've stuck with it.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
We need those options too.
Right.
We need the anti-left options.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So lastly, I wanted to bring up this isn't necessarily just TaylorMade, but there are, as of last year, there was a lot of prominent Fairway Wood models that were not adjustable. Mm-hmm. And so it seems like we're getting to a point now where every metal, or almost every metal, I know there's some within the TaylorMade series, some within the Callaway series, et cetera, that are still bonded. But getting to a point now where everything is adjustable.
Thank goodness.
And I mean, are you, as a fitter, have you ever gotten in a circumstance where it's like two models neck and neck, the player's indifferent on them right now, and you're like, well, here, take the one with the adjustability?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I will promote adjustability over not adjustability all the time. We were running out of space. Like, I need a bigger store with all the bonded stuff from Callaway and TaylorMade, over the last couple of years. I mean, it clutters everything up. So from a what can I do for somebody standpoint, and how can we be as efficient with what we've got in our stores, makes a huge difference. I like the adjustability. For sure. Yeah.
And now, so QI35, I believe most of the models within the series are now adjustable, which is new from TaylorMade. And so I think I just wanted to call attention to that because I think for a long time there's been this, call it, I don't know, the messaging from, say, TaylorMade, not making all of them adjustable was kind of, hey, we're using this to increase MOI and performance and in the club head. But now it seems like, look, you need the settings available to you.
Settings are nice.
Yeah.
Settings are nice. I like the adjustability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there, without giving anything away too much, I know we've kind of, as of this moment, we've filmed and recorded this segment already, but is there a runaway favorite that you have in terms of series this year, early in the year? Like I'm overall series. I'm talking about Ping G440, TaylorMade QI35, Cobra DS-ADAPT, Shrixon ZXI, Callaway Elite.
Top to bottom, I'm probably going to lean on Callaway Elite a little bit.
Because they've also added the adjustability similarly in those fairways and hybrids.
The change that they've made to their irons in the Elite line is so good.
Yeah.
And the Fairway Woods are just rocket ships. I'm very pleased with what I've seen with Callaway. I'm also very pleased with what I've seen with Cobra. I mean, look, this is my 10th year as a Cobra staff member. I've been very lucky there again, and they continue to push the boundaries, even though they do so from a slightly lower position on the manufacturer totem pole, right?
Right.
So it's good though. They push the people above them, and DS-ADAPT is a great line. Fairway Woods are good. The irons are fast, strong, fast, good looking. So I think it's good too. But from an overall standpoint for who's coming into 2025 with the most maybe notable change, I think I'm going to give it to Callaway.
All right. Well, again, we will keep track of that statement. But Mr. Kevin Kraft, thank you for joining the Second Swing Thoughts podcast, talking about what's new and fitting this year in 2025. Be curious to see where we stand on these things down the road here.
Yeah.
But for right now, it looks like a really good year to get fit if you're maybe a player that hasn't in a few years.
It's a very good year to get fit. Great products all around. Pretty much no bad decisions.
Yeah.
Just let us give you a little bit of guidance.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Kevin will do that for you when you schedule a fitting at Second Swing, or any of our fitters will, actually. So get yourself dialed in this year and get an appointment scheduled with Kevin. So thank you, Kevin, for joining on this segment of the show. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel and subscribe to the podcast on all your platforms.
Love it. Thanks.